What's up, man? Looking at NQ and dollar index today and see where we're at. I've been busy the past week. Didn't really do much in the market at all. Looking at price action past 2 weeks. We just had this slop and chop. Rallied up. Took out those highs. Traded into this daily contract changes gap right there. If I toggle this here, and there we go, we should be able to see the gap right there. Traded into that, tapped the high, slumped around it, and had a retracement this week lower. So far, we toggle this back on. Before we traded back into this new week opening gap down here, we took out this low. Took out that low. Not much of a new week opening gap this week. We also traded into this gap right there, which I had noted but took it off the chart. Not much context here for me. We're tracing on a weekly. We got this massive order block. Looking at mean threshold of that. Looking for price to trade mean threshold of this. It's going to do one thing. One of two things once it's gotten to this weekly order block mean threshold. We are either going to continue trading down lower to these lows, or we are going to respect this level and start to see higher prices. Let's look at this shift. We traded into that contract changes gap, tap the consequent encroachment, and traded to the high, and then tanked. So that's where we're sitting at. I'm looking at price to trade into this weekly order block mean threshold. We had this low. We now have, we can look at this wick, we can look at this wick, and we can look at this low and that low. If price trades down below this weekly order block mean threshold and shows no respect of this level. If we do, however, show respect of this level, then I expect price to start rallying up higher. And then we have a fair value gap sitting here, as well as a fair value gap here, and a inversion sitting up there. So far, looking at the seasonal tendencies, we expected bullishness. We didn't see much of a follow through. We had this rally here on the 10th, trading up to the 18th. Sloppy price action on lower time frames. It's really been sloppy. We tanked down this week. Last week I had a massive tank down. Didn't really look at the markets at all. I was busy doing other stuff here. Let's look at the 1 minute. Let's swoop it over to, let's see, last week Friday. Yeah, let's look at AM session. Friday. Why is it giving me Sunday? Saturday. Okay, yeah, mine was 23rd. Yeah, there we go. We had a massive tank down right out of the gate. Look at this. Prior to tanking, we had this super sloppy, stupid price action. I hate this type of stuff. Whenever I see that, to me, it's like, okay, there's nothing going on here, nothing to miss. Usually just find something else to do. And we, right out the gate, just tanked lower. No real clean breaker block for me to key off in this. We did take out these highs. And we had this high, low, and higher high. Traded through that, really sloppy. Kind of tapped back into it. 850. Came back 9 o'clock. Rallied away from that. See, I don't like when price moves away from the level, taps it, and moves away, and it's not in the session. I don't like that. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I just don't like to see that. I like to see a clear move where price gives me a breaker block or a fair value gap, coupled with a breaker block and an order block. Price trades away from the level, gives me a clear market structure shift. And inside of a macro, comes back into the level, rejects the level, and there is the setup. I don't like to see price moving back and forth, tapping the level, and then coming back into it at 917. We tap the wick of barely the wick of that candlestick, and there we go. Never really came back to that. You could look at this and argue and say, okay, we have a high, a low, and a higher high there. Traded through that, traded back into it. And that would be a breaker block, which that would be correct. But that's not the type of setup that I'm looking for. I like to see price taking out the stops or trading into a higher time frame PD array, and I like to take that first distribution. I don't like to take a second distribution like this one here. If this was not clean, then I just don't like to take that. It's not my forte. Not something I do. For the rest of the day, 9:30. See, there's 9:32. Yeah, just off open, rally down. Nothing, nothing much else to see here except for the fact we traded up into a fair value gap. So yeah, fair value gap traded into 9:30. Again, we had a high, low, higher high tank. Came back into that. Just not my forte. Not gonna bother taking it. Look at all the consolidation you'd be sitting through. Look at that, all the consolidation. Yeah, it moved quite a bit. You know, moved 5, 6, or 7 handles or so. Honestly, it's not worth it for me to sit inside this consolidation, spend the mental capital to get 5 or 10 handles out of it. It's not worth it. Just kept on slumping down for most of Silver Bullet. Stayed sideways up until lunch. Continued rallying down from 12 to about, look at this. Look at PM open. Look at that. Chop, man. Chop until it closed. The rally took place just after lunch into a pre afternoon session, I guess. Just tanked down. So not much missed. Not much missed. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, Friday. There's a hold up here. Friday, yeah, it was slumped. Yeah, yeah. Move it over. Let's get this look at yesterday's price action. How much do we move here? Okay, we moved quite a bit. 1.5% down. Yeah. Look at this price action here. Not the the cleanest, but not the messiest. Not too bad here. This looks nice and clear here. We did, however, looking at the calendar. Let's pop that calendar up here. Let's look at this. What is that? This week we had President Trump speaking at 2:50 249, whatever. So Trump was on. Not much else to expect for that. Just Trump spoke. Today we have nothing that's high impact. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So not expecting too much. You could look at the 9:30 opening. Look at the silver bullet and see what price throws at you. Wednesday, new home sales. Again, we look at 9:30 opening and silver bullet. Thursday, we got prelim GDP at 8:30, so 8:30 and 9:30 opening. Friday, we have core PCE at 8:30 and then Chicago PMI at 9:45. So there I would look at the 8:30 opening. If 8:30 doesn't give anything, then look at 9:30. If 9:30 doesn't present anything, then look at 9:50. That should probably give you something to go off. So back to NQ here. Looking at yesterday's price action. So we didn't have much going on yesterday as far as news events and expectations. 9:32. This was a Judas swing, traded down, came back up, didn't get back into this breaker block. Looking at this move down here, well, if you took an entry and you held that one through, you didn't have to stop way up here. You would have been taken out with this move. It set up clean enough. Time was off 9:12. I don't trade the 9 to 9:30. I just don't trade that. So that time was off. 9:33, big Judas swing, traded down. Left a BPR, that gap and this gap here. Never traded back into that, so it became a breakaway gap. We do have a high, low, higher, high. And we immediately traded back into that breaker right there. So yeah, not something I don't know, not something I really like to. I like to see price trade away from it with big, nice impulse leg, come back into it. So not my thing. Rally down, traded back up, rally down. After with the 950 to 1010, rally down. Had a nice retracement, 10 o'clock. And from there on, price retraced up higher. Super messy structure. Once again, super messy. Like, this is so messy. I wouldn't take any retracements on this. I just won't take it. It's just way messy. I just don't like it. It's low probability to me. Screams low probability. Around this area, you would have a big gap on a higher time frame on a 5 minute or something. You could take an entry on that. But look at how high resistance this is. Look at that, high resistance. So overall, it's just messy, man, dude. Let's look at the PM. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like when I set up with a whole bunch of chop like this. I don't like that. Choppy, rally down. 1551, yeah. Right before market, right before close, it just tanked. That last 15 or so minutes, it tanked and closed down. Yeah, so really not good conditions. So I'm not touching it. It's not worth touching, in my opinion. So I'm sidelined. I'm waiting. We haven't seen that massive rally up for Feb like you wanted to. We had this little tiny push up, massive tank down. So we're going to have to wait and see what it does. We're taking out this low. We don't respect this order block mean threshold. Then we're targeting, looking at this wick and this low. see how we react once we get to those levels. Just look on a weekly. Let's look at those on a weekly. We got a bit of an equal low down here. That's quite clean. Also have this one down here. So we'll see if it does want to show bearishness, then we are going to probably go down to these lows. If price shows us with proper market structure shifts here. Market structure shift, retest the fair value gap, and show a willingness to rally down lower. And then we'll short that thing. See, we got these equal lows down in here too. So that blows bullish ideas out of the water because I mean having these lows down here, what the heck is this? Having all these lows down here, it's way too clean. Relative equal lows, and it's way too clean. Not much of anything. We took this liquidity up here. So not much of anything in terms of going up higher. So we'll have to see how it reacts here. And then we can react according to that and see what we want to do. Let's scoot over to the dollar index. Dollar index. So far for dollar index, I mean, we rallied down lower. Retested this daily fair value gap, which this would be a inversion now because we're below that. So we retested that, tap into the mean threshold consequent encroachment, 50% of it, tanked, and traded up higher into this fair value gap here, right there. We seem to be respecting that so far. We had that weekly fair value gap sitting down there and that weekly old low. Take a look at that. So let's see here. There's that weekly old low and there's that weekly fair value gap. We technically did fill this gap in with this candle, but I'm still noting it on the chart if we trade into the high of this weekly fair value gap and price reacts at that level. So that's something I have on the chart. On a monthly, low, high, lower, low. So your highest candle, monthly breaker block. That's something I took note of. That's something we tapped into yesterday. We took out these lows. So we have to see how it reacts at this daily fair value gap. If this daily gap holds us, pushes us down lower, then I obviously want to see price get below this low and make its way down to this weekly old low. If this gap fails and it becomes an inversion, then we're going to go for this high and these gaps up here. So that's what I'm looking at so far. There's nothing screaming one-sided to me. Nothing very clear. Go back over to NQ. We can have a look at ES. ES is basically so super similar. Hold on, let me just pull up my analysis here. Let me get a look at that. Yeah, I'll throw you guys over so you can see what's going on. Give me 1 second here. I'll get you over. Okay, there you go. Should be looking at ES. Okay, yes, yeah, Macy chart. I haven't really touched it yet. We had a new week opening gap right there. I talked about that same phenomenon on NQ. And said I took it off the chart because it's making the chart messy. We had that new week opening gap. Price uh, stayed in this level, and we also had these caps here, which you can see we traded those. Tapped the high of it. Just a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I can take that off. So we tapped into that. I can take this off too. Sorry. So for looking at this one, we took out this low again. We got this wick. And we got this old low sitting here. And we still have some of this daily fair value gap left open here. So we could still trade into that. Today we tapped into the low of this new week opening gap. So we could see price trading lower. So far it's pushing down lower there. Same order block here. See that mean threshold right there? That low comes in right with that, as well as this daily fair value gap, consequent encroachment. It's lining up there. Levels that line up. Let's look at a monthly. See that month of Feb is, I mean, look at that. Come on, man. Look at this. It's like a candlestick, like a wick. Not much going on, man. Not much going on. We took out this monthly old high. See, we took that out. Let me check if we did the same on NQ. Yeah, we did the same thing on NQ. Okay. Okay, yeah, we took it out real good on NQ too. That's something hold on, I'm gonna take note of this. Monthly, oh come on. Monthly old high. What color am I gonna make this puppy? Let's make it purple. Give me 1 second just to look at this. Yeah. Monthly old high taken out. Let me switch you over. See that right there? This high, monthly old high taken out. Taken out right there. Yeah, right there. Taken out into the daily contract changes gap. Yeah, it's bound to reverse like this since we took out a monthly high. So that makes sense. We'll just have to see. This is a waiting game now. We'll have to see if it's going to give any respect here and if it wants to continue being bullish or if it wants to go take out these lows before it wants to give us any potential rally. Just have to look at it and see what it wants to do here. Let's go back to ES here for one moment. Okay, so ES. Go ahead and take note. Did I take note of this? No. Give me 1 second. Take note of this. Monthly old high. And it should be in purple. Just making it purple. Look at the daily. See, it's right there. Right there at level. Took it out. Guess you could say that this weekly level did take that one out. Yeah, I took it out too. Took it out. Immediate reaction. So I want to see. So price took out old highs. So I want to see price retrace into fair value or it needs to go take out the liquidity. So fair value, If you look at this swing low to high, then fair value gap right there, liquidity sitting right there. That's your fair value, this daily fair value gap. Beautiful on ES. Not so much on NQ. Go back to NQ for a second. Look to the left here. Where this swing. Let me see here. On ES, it was 14th. It was June the 5th, 15th of January. We had that fair value gap. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it was right there. We have a small gap here, as well as an inversion sitting right there. Doesn't line up with this consequent encroachment though, so I don't really like that level. Don't really like that level. This looks slightly more to the left. We also have this gap here, and that one kind of lines up with that. And then we also have this gap to the left, which would make this a BPR. It would make it a BPR. I don't know, man. I'm liking that level more. I'm putting it on. I'm noting this. But again, we have this gap down here, I guess. Does line up a consequent encroachment of this one. Yeah, I would opt to take this one here, I guess. Looking to see which gap I like more here. Daily. That's going to be a daily inversion. Could also be a BPR because of the fact that we have this gap and a tiny gap sitting there. So that kind of acts as a BPR. And then I'm going to go for this wick. This wick, consequent encroachment, you know it. Daily. Wick, consequent encroachment, and I'll just make it orange. If we want to go down there, that is. If we don't respect this weekly order block mean threshold. That's what I'm looking at. Since we did take that monthly level, makes sense why we want to take out a low, retrace, tap a higher time frame level, or liquidity, or inefficiency. Inefficiency or fair value. Those are the two that you can get. So to me, it's still a waiting game. I gotta check here if I can get that calendar back up here. Where is it? Calendar forex. Yeah, there we go. Looking at this calendar again, there's nothing high impact today, so I'm not expecting anything ridiculous. Could just continue trading lower. Not much for Wednesday, but Thursday we got some red impact. The prelim GDP, so I don't know, man. We might see Wednesday. We could see midweek reversal Wednesday being price tapping that weekly order block and showing some respect and turning around. And we could get a move higher on Thursday and Friday, or we will see Thursday push it into that weekly order block mean threshold and push through into that daily inversion. And then we're just going to get a follow through Friday. Probably Friday ending the week off back inside the range. So not much going on this week as far as calendar to really get this thing going. Next week we have PMI, which that's a clear 950 trade right there. 950 trade. Nothing on Tuesday. So Tuesday could be a bit lackluster or just continuation. Wednesday, ADP, non-farm employment change. This would also be NFP week, by the way. NFP week. NFP week by Wednesday morning, you are usually done for the week. as things could start turning nasty here with this PMI. You got 815, so 830. That's 830, and you got 950. So 930 could also be used because they could, you could get your stop hunt at 830, and then 930 could be the entry, and then 945 to 10 is when price reaches for the liquidity. But this could be very messy, very risky, so you got to be really careful in that. After Wednesday, yeah, nothing after Wednesday AM. If AM is messy, then don't touch it. ICT says Wednesday morning you are done. So there it is. Simple as that. Thursday, unemployment claims at 8:30. Usually when it's NFP, I don't expect much. This is usually a messy day, choppy, accumulating orders. Friday we have the NFP. So that's about it for next week. Week after, daylight savings shift, jolts job openings, core CPI, PPI, and yeah, this looks like it could be a nice trading week. Really, really depending on the price action you have in place. If market structure in place is just not set to run on a higher time frame, it's gonna be, even though the calendar would be beneficial and really helpful, then it's not gonna be a good week. It's gonna move liquidity around in session times, and that's about it. But yeah, next week, yeah, we'll see. Next week might have something coming on Monday. Monday might be tradable, and Tuesday might be a follow through. My expectations for this week, yeah, we'll have to see. This is more of a sitting and waiting and seeing what it does as far as anything else. For the end of Feb, we're definitely thus far, we're looking at the, if you look at seasonal tendencies, yeah, I am looking at the 24 and 15-year plotted data lines, and we are retracing, and it's yeah, that would line up with what we have now in price is retracement and then consolidation. So that's what I'm seeing. March, pretty much the same thing, consolidation up, slow uptrend, which that might be beneficial. If price wants to be bullish and we have slow uptrend, we might get a nice little move in March. For the whole March, we should be moving up. In April, your 24 and 15-year plotted data lines pull into a retracement until about mid-April before we then go into rallies. Your 5-year just posts a rally, so we'll just have to see them. Dollar index, Feb, yeah, 5-year plots a choppy situation. Same thing on 35 and 15 plots a chop. 5-year, however, towards the end of the month, goes into a bullish rally. Same thing is pretty much seen for 35 and 15, more towards the end of the month where we post rallies. Those rallies would then follow into March till about mid-month, where we then see a tank. And that's about it. Yeah. So far, nothing that excites me. I like to see a daily chart that has a clear direction. If I get a daily chart that has a clear direction, that's when I like to get into the market, because we get days when we open up, we get a manipulation, price takes the stops, rallies. It's nice and clean price action. That's what I like to see. I don't like to see this hiffy duffy choppy price action. It doesn't work for me. So that's about it. Hopefully you um have found some insight in market conditions which are not the best. Hopefully this gives you some clarity how to approach this. If you really want to get into trading this, then you're gonna have to look at intra-session scalping. That's gonna be it. Intra-session scalping, you're gonna be scalping it. Find liquidity pools on a 1 hour or 15-minute. Look at where the stops get taken and trade off of that. That's about it. See, this would be a market maker sell model, which we had here. Tank. But I like to see clarity on a daily chart. And then I like to get involved with that. Clear direction on a higher time frame just gives you setups that have higher probability. So until next time, be safe.